Yeah. Yes, I'm live, and you guys, I am live. Yeah, hello there. Yes, this is the first time I'll probably be doing a live transmission at night, and this is something I've been meaning to do for I don't know how long. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it on my um, Ijapa Ologbo page on Facebook, and possibly on my YouTube channel. Now, the purpose of this broadcast is that I'm just one of those people that have been missing you know, the concept of storytelling, the traditional African folk tales. Those stories of Ijapa, the stories of all the animals that can talk, and all those stories that we learn from that I used to teach us morals, stories that I'm sure a lot of us have forgotten about. We don't even remember those stories again. Eh, yeah, I've tried when I was still at the Lagos State Polytechnic where I used to work, you know, to work with some of my students to produce editions of the Ijapa, Ologbo West stories, some of the ones that we can remember. And for those of you who are possibly watching this on my YouTube channel, you'd have seen the Ijapa Ologbo West story that I posted. And it's a dream to one day, because the values, the moral values in the world, especially in African countries, our, the moral values have greatly gone down. People don't seem to know which values are important to hold dear. Everybody is just, acting and behaving the way they like. But growing up, I used to remember, at night when we sit like that with my mom, and, she tells us stories. Some of those stories where animals are talking, where mysteries are happening, and then at the end of the day you are asked, kilo kowa o, ogbon wo ni alo yen kowa o, what lessons can you learn from the stories that are being told? And these days we hardly have time to even tell our kids stories. We hardly have time to, let them learn some morals, some values of how to live life from the stories that they are told. And each time somebody somewhere is trying to do something about it, on YouTube, I've seen a lot of African folk tales. I myself, with some colleagues, some student friends, we've worked on since how many years now? I think it's now almost 6 or 7 years. No, not quite more than that. I think it was in 2008 actually, that we produced the Ijapa Ologbo story. And up till now, we've not been able to produce the next episode of that story, even though we've got a lot of stories to tell. And what is disheartening about it is that you hardly find, people try to do it and they drop it. They try to do it and they drop it. And there are a lot of lessons to be learned from those stories. I remember this page I'm broadcasting on, the Ijapa Ologbo page. I created it some almost how many years ago? I've created that page, and it's just there. It's just that one single cartoon about the African folk tales that is there. So what I intend to be doing with this broadcast is to invite people to join me. Some of those stories that I can remember their songs, and that's the exciting thing about African folk tales, especially the Yoruba Alo, because the folk tales for different continents, different culture is different, but the stories are usually similar in context. I know that, for instance, when we talk about the um, Cinderella story that have been made into cartoons that people watch and all that, for the Yoruba part of it, we've got it in the Aduke Ologbo Ewa story. I don't know how many of us are, were told about the Aduke Ologbo Ewa stories, and if you can still remember it. And then there is also those moral lessons that you're taught. For instance, the cartoon that I made some times ago with some of my students then, where we enact in cartoon the story of Ijapa and Ijapa àti Okere, and the lessons of not, for instance, not, being unjust in getting involved in issues that we were not there when it started. I'm sure a lot of know many stories like that. So what I will be doing with this broadcast every time is coming up with some of those songs that I can remember, and then I will invite anybody. It's late in the night. It's the time of the day that it's very good for you to call your kids. Possibly everybody's getting ready to sleep. It's Ramadan time now for us Muslims, and I'm sure that a lot of us, we've done our sahur, we've done our iftar, we've we've, we've, we've broken our fast, we've observed all our prayers, and we're possibly trying to go to bed now so that we can, wake up early enough to have our sahur and then to observe all our prayers. So yeah, it's time to put your head on the pillow, or possibly call your kids together and tell them stories. And a lot of us don't even know those stories. So the purpose of this broadcast is to invite you to join me to try and go down memory lane, to remember some of those good stories that taught us morals, that taught us how to live life in a subtle way. A lot of us, we understand the value of relationships. We understand the way it is we are supposed to react in different circumstances, different situations, based on the lessons that we've learned from those stories. Yeah, and tonight, the one I want to push out, is I don't know, I'm not sure I remember the whole song again, but I'll sing it as much as I can remember it, and then I would invite you, anybody out there. There is something I'm going to post now, which there's something I'm going to push out now. It's a link for anybody that is willing to participate and have a go at remembering the story. The story is at remembering the story that I'm going to push out. I will sing the song now, and then if you think you remember that story, I would like you to just follow the link that I've shown on StreamYard to be a guest with me here. and then share if you know that story. Tell me your own version of it, because there were times I've told some of those stories to my kids, and my husband is there, and they say, "No, that's not the version of the story." And I say, "You tell your own version of the story," and it's very interesting. So that's what I want us to share, and that way, yeah, we have our nightly story, and then we are able to teach our kids. We're able to teach, to remind ourselves about some of those very great values that made our community safe. So the story I'm going to first start with is this one. This is the song, if I remember it correctly. It says, "Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ, gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ, ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ." I'm not sure if that's at least that's how much I remember it from the way it was told to me when I was, much younger, secondary school, primary school. And I remember after we told, no, no. That's the way and then a mom will come, you tell the story. Ní ọjọ́ kan, Ijapa ṣe kinní kan. So now that is what I want you guys to do. You can say it in English. That's why I'm doing this broadcast in English, because I want people to, I want it to be something that people can actually learn from. And you can say it in Yoruba language, because that's the stories that I know. Those are the stories I grew up with. And if you're somebody who is not Yoruba, but you have a version of the story that is similar to the one that we'll be telling, then you can, of course, just use that link that I just put there. There is that link there for StreamYard for you to join me in the studio and tell the story, or possibly sing the song the way you know it, but the way I know it is the way I've just sang it. Say, yeah, yeah. If anybody don't know it, I will tell the story the way I remember it. But I really, really will be grateful for someone to, come in. If you're watching me, follow the link, copy it in your browser, or you just click on it if it's clickable on whatever device you're using, and then you'll be here in the studio with me, and then I can hear you tell the story. If you like, call your kids, call your family, friends, tell them to join. Let them use this as a night story to go to sleep. So the story, again, that I want us to look at tonight, try to remember, and try to remember the song, try to remember the story around it, and try to talk about the lessons we're meant to take away from that story, is the one that has this song. Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ, gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ, ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ ń kíjọ. Now, for those who don't speak Yoruba, now I'll just try and see if I can translate what that song was saying. The song was talking about it was calling on mom. Say it's like a child singing out to his or her mother that, oh, bring out the rope, and that everybody else has killed their mothers, but the dog refused to kill his own mother and hide her somewhere in the heaven. So that's what the song is talking about. So it's saying, Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ, gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ, ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ. So if you know that song, or you know a better version of it, or you know another version of it, you can join me on live now share that story, share the song, and if you remember the story, share the story with me. But one thing that is really very important, even if you don't remember the whole story, you can actually call to join me to tell me about a similar story once I start telling the story of that song. I don't want to tell you if it's story of everybody from the song, since I mentioned the dog and in Yoruba aja is dog in English. So it means this story I'm talking about is actually about the dog. Now, what happened to the dog in this story, and why was the dog singing? That is what I want you to share with me. And what lessons can we learn? What lesson of life is there to learn, in this particular folk tale that I'm talking about? Ìyá ìyàtà kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ gbogbo ayé pa ayé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀ kíjọ. So, yeah, I'm waiting for you. Call your friends, family, colleagues, children that have not yet slept, especially since the lockdown started. I know a lot of children are sleeping very, very late. Let's keep their night also productive by telling them stories that would teach them good morals of life, good values of life. And that is the essence of this broadcast. The thing is, I've been meaning to do this for I don't know how long, because I just value a lot. Aside from the religious lessons that we learn, aside from those things that we learn as people who follow particular scriptures, these were also cultural and traditional upbringing that actually made us who we are, that gave us values, that gave us, let us know how to relate, how to behave in particular circumstances. So, how do I react when I find myself in a particular situation? What do I say? How am I supposed? How do I not become a social nuisance? How do I not become somebody that is turning, how do I become somebody that is making the world to achieve the best? How do we come out of this lockdown, as better people? So things like this, I believe, are things we can engage our kids with to actually, teach them all those opportunities that we don't have to tell them stories before, because we're so busy. We get back home, we're so tired, we want to sleep. We're tired, we want to sleep. We're not. That does not even, let you have time. I remember the few occasions that I've, actually taken out the time to tell my kids stories. I see how excited they are, how happy they are. First, to be hearing about something that I heard when I was younger, when I was a little child. The concept of even telling them that, when I was little, I'll sit down with my mom and then she tells me this story, and this is the story she told me. It brings connectivity, and that's the kind of things I want to encourage us to be doing. Yeah, the government in the UK is thinking of relaxing the lockdown, but yeah, there's still the opportunity to still build that habit, and storytelling can never die in terms of how it can impact on people. Everybody likes to hear stories about others, and especially our kids nowadays, they're so used to the cartoons, the the most unbelievable thing moving and talking. So when you also tell them these stories of um Ijapa, Ologbo, the stories of Yoribo, the stories of okere, all those stories. When you tell them, there are things that, yes, that they are not really like things that are uh, quote unquote real, but they have cultural values and they have moral instructions. They have life lessons, and they are one of the very potent way to actually make a difference in the way we bring up our kids that we are gradually losing. Not gradually, we've lost it. We've lost it. I think it's been lost even during our own generation, because yes, I do remember my mom used to tell us stories, but it wasn't like it was like a regular thing like that. And now we hardly do it. We hardly do it. So the story that I said we should be talking about today, yeah, and of course, I'm making cartoons out of them, and very soon there'll be more of that coming out from our staples. But the story I want us to talk about tonight is Ìyá Ìyáta Kùnwálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé fàyè rẹ̀ jẹ́ o. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. So that's the song. So do you know the story? If you know the story, you want to tell it in English, you want to tell it in Yoruba, or you have a different version of that song for the same story, please join me. I said the way to join is to use the link that I've just sent. Use that link, click on it. If you click on it, it will bring you into the studio with me, and I would be able to add you to actually tell the story. I've got my phone. I'll be able to add you to tell the story, perform the the song if you remember it, and yeah, we'll be able to share a nice night folk tales before we all go to bed. So yeah, I'll wait for a bit and then I'll start telling you the story, the version that I know, the way I remember it. Ìyá Ìyáta Kùnwálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé ẹ̀ jẹ́ o. Jọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. That's the story, that's the song. If you remember it, if you know it, please follow the link to join, to be part of the storytelling tonight. If you remember that song, is it that nobody remember it or nobody is here? I know this, I've not visited this Ijapa Ologbo web page for a long time. So possibly people are just coming in and having a go and saying that, okay, something is happening here. Something is happening. I'm creating. I just want us to, retell those stories of the folk tales that were used to teach us morals, that were giving us instructions on how to live our everyday lives. How do we relate to people? How do you react in certain situation and certain circumstances? So I'll tell the story now, because this is supposed to be just 30 to 40 minutes broadcast. Now, the story goes like this, and I'll say it the way we say it then. When we say, my mom will say, hello, hello. Ní ọjọ́ kan, ní ìlú àwọn ẹranko, in the town of the animals, there was so much famine. There was so much famine. There was no food. There was drought. Everybody did not have anything to eat. Both the young, the old, everybody. There was serious hunger in the town of the animals. And it got to a point that everybody started thinking, what can we do? There is so much hunger. There is drought. The rain is not coming. The fruits are not growing, and we can't start eating ourselves. So what do we do? How do we take care of this drought? How do we take care of this hunger in the town? Then the animals started thinking. They started thinking, what can they do? Then the tortoise and other kinds of animals, the hyena, the lions, all of them, those of them that are younger than the younger ones, like let's say the teenagers amongst them, if there are teenagers among animals, we're talking about animals here. They all came together and had a secret meeting. They had a secret meeting to think about how to take care of this hunger, how to overcome the hunger that is happening in the town, the drought, the fact that everybody there is nothing to eat. It is not raining. Everywhere is dry. Even the animals amongst themselves, they are dying. And the little that they could find became not enough for everyone. So everybody struggled to get something to eat. And so the younger generation of animals had a secret meeting. And they said to themselves, how do we take care of this hunger in the town? How do we overcome this thirst? How do we ensure that the little that we can still get can go around those of us that are around? And they made a decision. All of them. All the young animals in the animal kingdom. They all came together and they made a decision. What was that decision? Can you remember that story as I'm saying it? If you remember, just click on that link if you're here. If you just drop by and you find me telling the story. You can just click on that and come back and join me if you remember that story from where I told it up to. Then you can join me to complete it. You know the story? You know the song I said again? The song is Ijapa wale o alujonjo kijo gbogbo ayé pa yèyé ẹ̀jẹ̀ o alujonjo kijo ajagbe tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run alujonjo kijo. Now, you know what I said? There was hunger and drought. And so all the young animals came together and decided, yes, we must find a solution. We can't all continue to die like this in hunger. Something must give. We must do something about this. So, having met and having made, a decision, what was their decision? Their decision was that we are very young. We are still teenagers. We still have a long life to live. So why don't we just kill all the older animals that are in the animal kingdom? If we kill all of them, all the old ones, all the old tortoise, all the old dogs, all the old hyena, all the old animals, why don't we just kill them? Let's kill all of them you know, why don't you just kill all of them? So that it will just be those of us young animals that are remaining. After all, they are old and they will soon die anyway. So why should we die of hunger when they are just old? They've had all their youths in their younger age. They've eaten as much as they could eat. Now they are old. They should go and die. So they decided amongst themselves, all the young animals, they decided that yes, the solution is to kill all the old animals in the animal kingdom. And when we kill all of them, there will be few of us left. And those of us that will be left will be the younger ones. Then we would have enough to eat amongst ourselves. And then we can also grow. They've lived their life. Why should we die with them? So they all decided that in order to take care of the hunger in the town, in order to ensure that they do not die young because all these older animals are old. And to take care of the hunger in the town, they decided, let us kill all the old animals. And if we kill them, we'll be able to continue living our life. And then we would have enough food to share amongst ourselves. At least we won't even have to worry about them. Because when they don't have enough to eat in their old age, they even become frail. They become weak, they can't handle themselves. So we have to take on their responsibilities. So why not just kill all that once and for all? Get rid of all that once and for all. We get rid of the responsibility of having to take care of them. We get rid of the need to share the little food that is left with them. And then more so, they're anyway going to die, they are old people. So that was the decision of the younger animals, all kinds of animals that were in the animal kingdom at that time. That was their decisions. That was their decision that they should kill all the old animals and then the food will be enough. Now, do you remember that story? I've said it up to a point. I'm gradually going towards the end of the story. So if you are here, you've joined me, you've just by chance you know, click on something and then you're on my Facebook page, Ijapa Ologbo, or you are on my YouTube page. Maybe you've watched the cartoon Ijapa Ologbo before and now you are on that page. I want to know if you remember the story, especially if you're Yoruba. And if you're not, but you have a similar story, your tradition, you can just copy the link that I've pasted on the charts on the charts in the that you can see. So just copy, follow that link, and join the story to tell. Join me in this broadcast to tell the story the way you know it, or to sing the song if you remember it. The song again is Iya iya ta kunwale o alujonjon kijo gbogbo ayé pa yeye ẹ o. Àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ ajágbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ. So where was I? I was where I was telling you about the decision of the younger animal in the animal kingdom. They decided that they wanted to kill all the old animals, and so they all left the meeting, the secret meeting they had. They left and they went out hunting for the old animals. So each person agreed to kill their own mother and father. Each of the animals agreed to kill their mother or their father or both. So they went back. The tortoise went back, killed his mother and father. The hyena did the same thing. The lion did the same thing. All the birds, all the animals you can think about, they all went back and did the same thing. But there was this one animal who immediately they left the meeting, started having the second thoughts. There was that one single animal that decided that, oh no, I'm not going to kill my mom. He started having a rethink. Why would I kill my mother who has nurtured me from when I was very little up to this point? When there was food, she used to share it with me. Why would I kill her? And he started feeling bad about it, about the decision of all the animals to kill the older generation just so that they can survive. He started feeling bad, but he couldn't talk amongst all of them. He couldn't. And he just got home and said to his mom, Mother, all the young animals have had a meeting and they have decided we should kill all their old animals. So every young animal in this animal kingdom is going to kill his mother or his father, whichever one he has. The mother was very sad. So are you going to kill me? I hope you are remembering that story as I'm saying it. If you do remember it again, I say, come join me. Follow the link. It's there. It's https column / streamyard.com. So if you look on there on my charts, on my chat panel, you will see that information. So you can just either click it or you copy it uh, into your browser, and you'll be able to join me on this. Again, that song. Remember the song? I told you if you can remember it, join me. If you know it better than I do, join me. Again, the song is Iya Ijapa Kunwale o Alujonjon Kijo Gbogbo Ayé Pa Yèyé Ẹ̀jẹ̀ o Alujonjon Kijo Ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run Alujonjon Kijo. Do you know the story? Now, where was I? So the dog got home and said to its mother, my dear mother, you've taken care of me so much. And now, the decision of all the young animals is that we should kill all the mothers so that we will have enough food, so that the food will be enough for all of us that are younger. You people have lived your life. You've enjoyed up to this point. So why should we die whilst you are living? So the little food that is left that we can still see in the village, in the animal kingdom, let it go to us, the younger one. And that is why they are killing. But mother, I do not want to kill you. And you know what? The mother, being a very wise woman, said, let us pack all the food we have in the house. Because what is supposed to happen is that whatever food you've got in the house after you've killed your mother or your father, everybody's supposed to bring it out so that all the young animals will now have, so much food and they can make a feast. And then they thought that would be enough for them to sustain them. But the dog, the mother, when the dog came and told the mother the story that this is what we've been asked to do, the mother said, you know what? Let's pack all this food that we've got at home. What do we do? Dog said, you know what? There is a tree inside the forest. I know a tree inside the forest where I can go and hide you, mother. And you just take all this food that we have left at home and anyone we can see on the road. So the dog took its mother and they left home with whatever food they had. And they went straight inside the forest at the very dark and at night when everybody was asleep and nobody can see, nobody knows what was going on. So in the middle of the night, they just, smuggled out of the house and the dog took its mother into the forest and hid her on top of a very tall tree with a rope, a very, very long rope that, very, very long rope that the mother could use to climb down if there was any need to. And that was how the dog hid his mother. And then the next day, all the other animals came. They've killed all their parents. They killed their mother. They killed their father. The ones that have both killed them. The one that has only one killed him or her. And they brought all the food. They ate to their fullest. The first day, the second day. By the third day, they finished all the food. All the food that they took from all the older people, all the older animals that they killed. They even ate some of the older animals that they killed. They are animals. Now, what can they do? Animals. They eat. Animal eats animal. Hmm? They even ate them. It lasted them maybe about just 3 days. And after 3 days, everything is finished again. They're back to square one. Again, there is hunger in the animal kingdom. But after the 3 days that they finished all the food, everybody started noticing that everybody again is hungry and they are becoming thinner and thinner. There is no food to eat. But they all noticed something. There was somebody that wasn't getting thin at all. Instead of getting thin, he was just looking fresh, And who was that? It was the dog. He was looking fresh. It was like, it was like he doesn't even know there was any famine or any drought or anything. He was looking fresh and fresh all the time. Then the tortoise now. I don't know how many of you know about Ijapa. You need to have heard all the folk tales and the adventures of Ijapa. The tortoise is called Ijapa in Yoruba language. You know what Ijapa did? He decided that he is going to find out the secret of the dog. Why is it that the dog is looking fresh and fresh when everybody is dying of hunger? We all killed our mothers now and our fathers just so that we can be able to eat. And after that, after the 3 days, every other person has not got anything to eat again. So where is the dog getting what he is eating from? So he decided that he was going to stay somewhere and secretly watch the dog to see what he does. How is he getting so fresh? Is there a magic that he is using that is making him so fresh? So later, as he was watching the dog, when somebody is watching you and you don't know he's watching you, the dog did not know, although he used to be very scared whenever he would look left, right, and center to see if anybody is watching. If nobody is watching, then he goes. So what happened? On this particular night, Tortoise just went and stayed somewhere and was watching out for the dog. And then he saw the dog going towards the forest. And he was like, what is he going to do in the forest? You know the way they say the tortoise, I don't know how they tell you the tortoise talk in your own tradition, but in Yoruba language, it talks through the nose. Where is it going? Where is that dog going? And then he started following the dog. And he saw the dog going into the forest. And then that leads us to my song again, the one I'm asking you to remember. when the dog got nearer to the forest, he just started the song again. Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé ẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. He sang that song the first time. After he sang it, he looked right, left. The tortoise was looking at him, and the dog was thinking, what is he doing? What is this song about? Was looking. Then again, the dog sang the song again. Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. He did it the second time. Then he looked to the right again, looked to the left. The tortoise, he wanted to see the tortoise. The tortoise quickly ran behind one shrub of, tree so that he would not see him. Then, okay, there's nobody. Then again, he sang the song the third time. Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. And then the moment he finished on the third song, the tortoise saw that something started coming down from top of the tree where the dog was standing. And then that thing came, a long rope with a small basket tied to it. And then the basket just came down. And then in the basket, there was all kinds of food. There was fruit, there was pineapple, there were oranges, there were long bones. Dogs love bones. There was bones. There was everything in that basket. And the dog just sat down there, finished everything in it. And the tortoise was getting really, how come? What kind of magic is that? Where is that food coming from? But he couldn't come out and let the dog see him. So he just stayed there and was watching the dog. As the dog was eating, he was salivating. He wanted to go and take it away from the dog and eat it himself. But he couldn't do that. But he was thinking to himself, this dog. So this is his magic. So this is his secret. No wonder he looks so fresh. No wonder everybody is dying of hunger and he is not dying. He's looking fresh and neat and everything. So this is his secret. Then the dog finished the food. Finished it. After he finished, again, he did this song. Ìyá ìyá ta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé ẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n àgbà gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. And then the rope started going up until the basket disappeared. And once that is done, the dog looked right, left, up, and down and just started walking back home. And the tortoise was like this. So this is the secret. This is the secret of the dog. But I'm not going to tell anybody yet. So the dog went without realizing that his secret has been let out. He went back home, leaving his mother to continue living on top of the tree in the forest. And the tortoise waited until the dog left. And then the next night, he made his way towards the forest before it was time for the dog to go there. And then he walked and went to the forest. And once he got in front of the tree in the forest, he started singing, Iya iyata kunwale o adujonjon kijon gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o adujonjon kijon ajá gbé tirẹ̀ ọdún adujonjon kijon. He sang it the first time, nothing happened. Okay, then he remembered, okay, I think it's because I need to sing it again because I think the dog sang it 3 times. Then he sang it again. Ìyá ìyáta kùn wálẹ̀ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. Again, nothing happened. Then again, he sang the 3rd time. Ìyá ìyáta kùn wálẹ̀ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. And then nothing happened again. So it now became so, okay, is it because of my voice? Then he said, oh, I'll try and make my voice look like that of the dog. And then he changed it and said, Ìyá ìyáta kùn wálẹ̀ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. And dog's poor mother fell into the trap and started bringing down the rope. Started bringing down the rope with food inside it. And the tortoise sat down, finished all the food inside the basket. And then when he finished all the food in the basket, what did he do next? What did he do? Instead of him to leave it and let it go, what did he do? He started singing again. Ìyá ìyáta kùn wálẹ̀ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé fa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. And the moment he said that, he started singing like that. The tortoise became the dog's mom. Thought, oh, he has finished eating. Let me take away the rope, and wanted to pull the rope back up. And you know what tortoise did? He pulled the rope so that he can get to see where the magic was coming from. And that was how he pulled the dog's mother from the tree and pulled her down. So this is what the dog did after all our agreement that we should kill all the mothers. So he left his own mother, and this is how he's been enjoying and looking fresh and all that. Oh, everybody in the village must know this. Everybody must get to know the betrayal of the dog. And he pulled the dog's mother into the village square of the animal kingdom and called everybody to come and see the betrayal of the dog. And that was how the dog's secrets came into the open. And everybody came and, so you didn't kill your mother. So why did they now all started regretting that they killed their own mother? Because they got the dog's mother while she was there in the forest. Whenever she's alone, she goes around looking for where to get food. And that's how she was able to supply a child with more food every time he comes for it. Then everybody started regretting. Had we known, we shouldn't have killed our parents. But then they decided that fine, what we did was wrong, But the dog also did a betrayal by not killing his own mother. And then all the animal came together and they were going to give the judgments to the dog for hiding his mother. And then eventually they made them pay ransom. They took whatever food that the dog's mother had, they took it from her. But then they all decided that subsequently they will not kill their parents. But they've already killed their parents. So it's only the younger ones that are there. And then they all started thinking, what if we were the old ones and then we have younger ones and our own children now want to kill us? And that was how that story ended. Now, there are a lot of lessons for us to learn. There are a lot of morals to learn from this story. And that is one of the reasons that storytelling, telling our kids about, even stories from religious books, interesting stories that will catch their attention and at the same time teach them lessons. We should talk about them. Again, let me remind you of that song. Ìyá Ijapa kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. Now, what has that story taught us? I will leave you to go and think about it. And when next I come on this broadcast, we will start the next episode with the story, with the lessons from that story. Now we've been on lockdown for how many weeks? Now we've heard of stories of older people dying as a result of the COVID-19. How much have we done to take care of our elderlies? What can we learn from these stories? From the story I just told about how we should relate in the present situation we find ourselves. African folk tales are supposed to teach us morals and values. They taught some of us morals and values. A lot of us are forgetting them. We're not remembering them. We don't tell them to our kids again. And these are things, not only will they make your kids to be closer to you, because in the process of telling these stories, like tonight, as I'm telling this now, if you can just call your children, let them stay with you. You're in the rooms, you're all getting ready to sleep, and you're just, telling these stories. You are doing reflections about the lessons that you can learn from those stories, or similar stories that you can find maybe in your scriptures, maybe in your particular culture. Tell them those stories to create relationship, especially now. There's a lot of boredom among the young ones. There are a lot we can do to actually let our kids, learn from our experiences. And telling stories is one of the ways to do that. So next time when I'm on this broadcast, it's going to be another story, another song, another folklore song, and another folk tale. Today, it's the first time I'll be doing the broadcast, even though I've had this page for years. But it's the first time I'll be doing this broadcast. And if you are here, if you've joined me or you just stumble on it after this broadcast, there will be another broadcast next week to tell yet another folk tales. And please, you can share it with your friends and families. If you have comments, you can leave your comments on this page. If you know the story better than I've told it, you are most welcome to join me in the next broadcast to tell your own story exactly as you know it. and possibly to teach me more of those folk songs. So I'm going to end this episode again, this broadcast again, with a song. Ìyá ìyáta kùn wálẹ̀ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n, gbogbo ayé pa yèyé ẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n, ajá gbé tiẹ̀ ó dọ̀run, àlùjọ̀njọ̀n kíjọ̀n. Until I see you next time with another interesting African folk tale. See you, sleep well, think about the story, think about the lessons, and come next week to share it with me. Bye bye. Jọ̀ǹkíjọ̀n gbogbo ayé pa yèyé rẹ̀ jẹ́ o, àlùjọ̀njọ̀ǹkíjọ̀n.